vlog. Thank you all so much for your feedback and suggestions for improvement on the last one. I really enjoyed putting it together, so I'm excited about making another one today, and I'm going to try and keep improving on these, so we'll see how it goes. And today's project is a denim chambray smock top, and I think it's going to be super cute. So let me show you the pattern that I'll be using. I will be using this pattern from Simplicity of the Cynthia Rowley collection, and I will be making View V, which is the little top. There's also a dress and a romper in this pattern. They're super cute. So this just has an elasticated neckband, so you can wear it off the shoulder on depending on what your preference was. And then other than that, it's really simple. And the only alteration I'm going to make, I will talk to you about in just a minute when I show you my inspiration. But yeah, I'm excited to get started on another project, and let's go ahead and get going. Okay, so here are my inspirational images for this top. You can see they're all this denim material, kind of like a flowy denim, which is what chambray kind of is. And here is my chambray fabric, a little sample of it. It's a very soft rayon, which I really like. And then right here is my sketch for the design. And you can see the one alteration that I've made is to put a slit in the sleeve here and then add a tie. So I'm kind of inspired by these kind of details, and I want to add that to the top, and I think it'll be super cute. So I'll show you how I'm going to adjust the pattern to accommodate that change. This particular design actually only has 3 pieces, the front, the back, and the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the front and back, which I have laid out here, and then we'll talk about all the changes I'm going to make to the sleeves.
I hope we make it, 'cause we can't change it anyway. For soon it's all over.
Okay, so I've gone ahead and pinned down my sleeve piece, and the only thing I'm going to do to make that detail is to split this piece down the middle after I cut it out, and that will just allow me to have that slit that I'm talking about. And I'll show you how I'll finish all those edges and put it together once we get started sewing. I have broken out my serger to finish off the edges of this garment. This is just a machine that does a really nice, neat overlocking stitch. And the first thing that I want to do for this garment is to overlock the edges of that cut edge on the sleeves where I cut down the center. So that's the first step to getting that detail the way I want. So that's what I'm going to start with now.
You've been running again.
So now you can see I have 2 halves of one sleeve with that edge nice and finished. So what I'm going to do next is put these right sides together. Okay, and now that they're right sides together, I'm going to go ahead and pin up the amount that I want to stitch together. And I think for the top, I'm going to stitch together to about 7 inches down. So I'm going to pin that together first. So that's the top pinned, and then for the bottom, I want it to be a smaller amount, so I have that slit. And I think I'll do about 3 inches here at the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch from this pin to the end here, and then from this end to this pin, and leave this part of the middle open. And so what will happen is once that is stitched, I will be able to press these serged areas to the inside, and that'll create that little slit effect that I'm looking for. So I think that'll look really cool, and I'm going to use about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to stitch these together. So now that I have sewn those together and pressed in that serged edge, we have this little slit here in the middle, and you can tell once there's some fullness here at the cuff, that'll be a really cool detail. So all I'm going to do to finish it off is just stitch along this edge to keep everything in place and make it look a little bit more finished. Okay, so I just finished top stitching that first sleeve, so let me show you what it looks like. I have to kind of cover up my face to show you, but here it is. So you can see that slit there in the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead now and repeat all of those steps on the other sleeve, and then I'll be back to talk about the construction of the top. Okay, so that slit on the sleeves is done, and now I have the front and back pieces. They're so big because they'll be gathered up so much at the neckline, so they don't look like much right now. But all I'm going to do right now is put these with the right sides together and sew down the side seams. So that will put together this kind of main part of the shirt that you would pull over your head. And then we'll add the sleeves. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin these and sew them, and then we will talk about adding the sleeves next. I'm also going to serge down the edge to finish it off after I sew with a straight stitch. So here we have the front and back piece now sewn together and pressed. It just kind of looks like a big sack right now, but we will remedy that shortly. So done with that for the moment. And what I'm going to do next is take those sleeves that we worked on earlier and go ahead and sew these side seams together just like I did for the front and back of the top. So I'll sew these together and serge them on both sleeves, and then we'll attach the sleeves to the top. Alright, so I've gone ahead and sewn one sleeve on, and it's kind of cracking me up because this top just looks like it goes on for quite a long time since there's no elastic in it yet. But yeah, one is sewn on here at the sleeve seams, and then, or the underarm seams, and then I was going to show you how that worked just with this one over here. I'm trying to hold this phone camera still, so bear with me. So all I'm gonna do is pin this right sides together, and then it just goes over that whole kind of half circle right there. And then I'll just stitch down with a 5/8 of an inch seam on straight stitch and then serge that edge. And then we'll be ready for the elastic on the top of the blouse. Okay guys, so off camera, I just went ahead and turned under this top edge twice and then stitched it down to make a casing for the elastic. So there's one spot where it's not stitched where I can put the elastic in and then just stitch over that when I'm done. I think it might be, yeah, right there. So that's where I can put the elastic through. And then I have my elastic here and a safety pin to help thread it through. So I'm going to do that now, and hopefully it will look more like a shirt and less like a balloon.
The promises we're making, the rules we keep breaking.
Hi guys, so it is the next morning now. I ended up having some family stuff to take care of last night that kind of prevented me from finishing up the project, but we are back ready to go again this morning. It is a beautiful sunny Saturday and I have my coffee, my hair is up. We are ready to go, ready to get this done. So I'm gonna show you where I left off last night. Okay, so you're going to see that it's really starting to take shape. We have one sleeve that's all the way done, and I just thought I would do that first and then show you how I do the second one just to make sure that it worked how I wanted it to. And then we have the elastic in the neckline, so that is all good to go, and I like how it looks a lot. So this half is looking pretty good. This half needs some work, so I'm gonna get started on that. So all we're going to do to make this sleeve look like this is to sew a casing just like we did at the top of the top. And so that just means folding under the edge and then inserting elastic, and then I'll show you how I made this little tie and added that on after I do that. All I did was cut a 2" by 10" I believe piece of fabric and then kind of just curved off the ends to make this shape, and then I'll sew that right sides together, turn it to the other side, and then I just top stitched all the way around to give it a little bit more of a defined look, and then tied it on between the slit and the edge of the top. So I think that looks really cute. I'm happy with how that turned out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the other sleeve. And then after we do the other sleeve, I think all we have left to do is the hem, and I will actually be making this a little bit shorter than it calls for. It says to do a very narrow hem, but I want the top a little bit shorter just because there is so much fabric going on. So we'll get started on that here in just a second. So my sister and I are supposed to be going to get some brunch in just a little bit, so my goal is to finish the top in time to go with her. So we'll see if I get it done. I'm gonna get started now. So I have my casing sewn. I just turned this under 1.5 inches and then turned it under again on the other side so that it's doubled and nice and clean. And what I'm going to do now is put my elastic through this cuff. So to do that, I'm going to use a safety pin and just put that through the top of the elastic so I can keep track of it. And then if I turn this way, you can see there's my little opening right there. And I put it right here just because this will be covered with a little bit of a tie when we're done. So I'm gonna just start threading this through now. So now that I have my elastic threaded through, I'm just going to use a zigzag stitch and stitch these 2 ends together, and then I can stretch this out and pull those to where they're hidden, and then just stitch over that opening so that everything is nice and closed up and finished.
And you've been running again.
tie for the sleeve detail, all I'm going to do is have a little bit of fabric and then using the fold, and then I'm just going to measure down 12 inches for the length, and then it will be 2 inches for the width. So I'm just going to use some pins to mark the length and then to mark the width. And then I'll cut a strip of fabric and just round off the ends to make it a little bit more of that kind of tie shape that I've seen in a lot of these shirts. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that now.
I hope we make it, 'cause we can change.
So now I'm just going to round these ends, cutting from here and just kind of curving. I'm not making this super precise. You could if you wanted to, but I think it doesn't really need it. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. So now what I'm going to do is flip this so that the right sides of the tie are together. And then I'm going to sew from here to about here, and then do the same thing on the other end, leaving a gap in the middle to turn it right side out. And then I'll turn it right side out and top stitch all around to give it a little more of a defined look. So here's what the tie looks like turned right side out, and then I just gave it a quick press, and all I'm going to do now is top stitch all the way around the perimeter of it to give it a little bit more of a defined look. So that's what I'll do right now. So here I have the tie and then the shirt sleeve. So all I am doing is just really basically tying this on, and I think it works really well. So all I'm going to do is just a little double knot. You could secure this a little bit more by sewing it down. I think it's pretty strong and it's going to stay pretty well, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. And there is the second sleeve done. So here is the top as it stands at the moment. So what I'm going to do now that the sleeves are done is just try it on and then mark up where I want the hem. So I may not want it to be as narrow as they said on the pattern. I think I might want it a little bit bigger. So then all I'm gonna do is just fold it under twice and stitch that down with a straight stitch, and I'll be back to show you the finished top. I'm so excited. Hi guys, so I thought I would do the audio part of this part of the video on my phone because I don't have an external mic for my main camera, which makes it a little bit difficult when I'm in the out of doors. But I just finished the top and I wanted to show you how it looks, so I'll put in clips of the actual top so you can see it, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. I'm so excited that it's done. I really like it. It's very billowy, which may not be to everyone's taste, but I really like it. And I really like how the sleeve detail turned out with the little ties and the slits, so that's fun. I think if I were to make this pattern again, I would use a little bit of a thicker elastic because it would stay in place better on my shoulders. I like to pull it right to the edge right there, and I think a thicker elastic would have made that a little bit easier, but it's definitely fun to wear. And I really like how it looks tucked in also with a little A-line skirt, so I will be wearing it that way also. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please continue to leave me feedback on what's helpful and what's not, and what you like and don't like, and I will continue to try and improve these for you. Thank you guys again so much, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!
And you've been loving again. Before